You wanted the best. You've got the best podcast. The hottest podcast in the world. The Chris Voss Show, the preeminent podcast with guests so smart you may experience serious brain bleed. The CEOs, authors, thought leaders, visionaries, and motivators. Get ready. Strap yourself in. Keep your hands, arms, and legs inside the vehicle at all times, because you're about to go on a monster education roller coaster with your brain. Now, here's your host, Chris Voss.
Hi folks, Chris Voss here from the ChrisVossShow.com. Ladies and gentlemen, the Shrill Lady sings and that makes it official. Welcome to the big show. 16 years, going on 17, 2,600 episodes. We bring you the Chris Voss Show because, well, it's court-ordered mandate. It's part of our way we're working off our what do they call that stuff? The time that you do pay back for your crimes to humanity or something. And I just learned the lesson, never tear your label off of mattresses. But I'll be paying for it for the next 20 years. Anyway, guys, don't be like me. But do be like me or refer the show, family show, and relatives to goodreads.com Chris Voss, LinkedIn.com/Chris Voss, Chris Voss 1 on the TikTokity, and ChrisVossFacebook.com. I didn't know they gave ankle bracelets when you tore off the mattress label, but yeah, make sure you do that and all that good stuff.
Opinions expressed by guests on the podcast are solely their own and do not necessarily reflect the opinions of the host or the Chris Voss Show. Some guests of the show may be advertising on the podcast, but it is not an endorsement or review of any kind.
Today we have an amazing young lady on the show. We're going to be talking about her experience, her knowledge, and her uplifting message, and the things she's going to inspire you for. And if she wasn't planning on that, well, I just put a lot of pressure on her. Antoinette Lee, MBA, is with us on the show today. She is an 11-year U.S. Army veteran, an outdoor industry influencer, model, consultant, health and wellness columnist at Cultures Magazine. She is the founder of the American Adventure Sports Club nonprofit and motivational health and wellness speaker, delivering the New Normal Big Life talk, blog, and podcast. Aside from an amazing recovering journey from using a walker, a service dog, a full-time caregiver after a traumatic brain injury, spinal injury, and PTSD, she shows others how to create their new normal and live the best life they can dream. She usually can be found in the North Woods with her family, stewarding the forest and river around their homestead while living the adventure sports lifestyle. And boy, she's got the pictures to show it. She's out whitewater rapid kayaking. Antoinette, welcome to the show. How are you?
Hi, Chris. I'm so stoked to be with you here today.
We're stoked to have you as well. And thank you for your Army service. Give us your .coms. Where can people find you on the interwebs?
You can find me at nnbl.blog, at New Normal Big Life Podcast on all of the platforms, NNBL Podcast on Instagram, NNBL Blog on X.
So give us a 30,000 overview of what you do there and how you do it.
Well, I was sick for a very long time. And so what I do is show people how to get answers for their most pressing health and wellness problems. But I also teach you how to be prepared for anything, because life is suffering and it comes for us all.
Life is suffering. We're leading off on a high note, folks. No, I'm just teasing. But I mean, there is. I mean, part of life, the journey is work, right? I mean, it's not easy. Like, no one just kind of walks up to you and goes, "Here's $1 billion. Here's your spouse, and here's you're set. Just sit and eat Cheetos in your beanbag and knock yourself out."
Right. Everyone thinks that life is supposed to be this easy journey, but the human condition is that life is suffering for us all. But the beauty of it is, because you've gone through some difficult times, you really appreciate the good times. And so the thing to remember is, just like eventually winter always turns to spring, sometimes a little early, sometimes a little late, your good times will come back around eventually. It's how you handle the bad times that positions you to thrive during the good times.
And that's a great message. In Stoicism, they talk about that. It's your perception. It's how you handle things. I mean, you can have something bad happen to you, and it's okay to grieve. It's okay to be like, feel like you're a little beat up sometimes. It's okay to go through that moment where you're like, why me? And what the hell? The universe has it out for me. But you can't get stuck in that place, because otherwise you just end up in a victim mindset. You've got to get empowered and go like, okay, well, you gave me lemonade, life. Let's sell some, or you gave me lemons. Let's sell some lemonade.
Exactly. And 51% of Americans, according to Gallup's Life Evaluation Index in 2025, 51% of Americans said they're struggling and suffering. And over 1 billion people worldwide suffer daily with chronic pain. 56% of Gen Zers said they're lonely, and 1 in 5 millennials have 0 friends, while 5% of seniors are depressed.
Yeah. Well, I mean, teenagers will do that to you. No, I'm just kidding. I'm kidding about the teenagers. I think we just lost the 2 that listen to the show that I've been wondering what this whole thing is about. What does he mean, a telephone? What is that? So, yeah, life is a struggle. And part of, you're right, if it wasn't for the good times, if it wasn't for the fact that, we could all experience our loss or someone else's loss where, in an instant we can be gone. Our loved ones can be gone, or we can be gone. Life can change in a moment, an accident, an incident. I had a friend who every day he walked kind of down some streets in San Francisco up, and then he did a mountain hike. He was like 8 years old, 82, I think he was. And he was killing it. His health was, fairly good for 82. He could go walk more than I could. He could go walk a mountain. And he would do that like on a daily basis and keep his health up. He went out for a walk. He was crossing the street. I guess there was a bus or something that was there, so no one could see him crossing outside the bus, and someone blew the light and did enough damage he died a few weeks later. This is the guy who's healthy, he's climbing mountains, he's doing all that thing, and you just blink of an eye, instant, life was taken from him. And so that can happen. Let's talk about your journey. You evidently got involved in the military at a young age. What was it like for you growing up? What were some of your influences, or some of the things that shaped you into the mindset you have now? And what was the journey? Tell us about your injury as well.
Well, I come from a legacy of veterans. My dad and his twin brother volunteered. They were not drafted. They served in the Navy in World War II. And then when the Korean conflict kicked off, they volunteered again and served in the Army. And then later, when I was in the Army, I was attached to the real MASH unit, the 65th Medical Battalion, and served in some of the areas where my dad and his twin brother fought. And then my mother's side, all of her 4 brothers served in the military. And so military service was the family legacy, and I wanted to be the first woman in my family to serve, and I was.
Congratulations. That's awesome.
Thank you.
And, the military's opened more roles for women, I think, than they used to have. I'm not sure what's going on this year, but that may be for another podcast. But no, I think it's great that, the opportunities are there and you're able to continue the legacy of your family, and thank your family for their service. I mean, you guys stand between us and some of the most evil people in the world. And that's my mother-in-law. No, I'm just kidding. I don't have a mother-in-law. That's a joke, folks. No. Or teenagers. Can we get you guys to protect us from teenagers? That might be good. I have some friends that are going through that right now. If you can't tell, I just heard their stories. I'm like, there is adoption. So what happened to you? How did you get in the situation where you ended up with an injury, and then you had to do this battle to get, go through some of the things we talked about in your bio?
Well, to understand what happened, you kind of need to understand what I did in the military. So I was trained and served in various roles throughout my 11 years in the Army. Most notably, I was an air assault qualified expert medic, trained in anatomy, physiology, pharmacology, general dentistry, and infection control and disease prevention. I also held other roles, but since 93% of the U.S. population has never served in the military, and for our international listeners, I'll explain a couple of things that are unique to the American active duty military and veteran experience. So an air assault qualification means that you're trained to sling load and hoist away using a helicopter. I would sling load it. A pilot would use the helicopter to move equipment from one place to another. You're also trained to rappel out of helicopters and down mountains and off buildings. And then as an expert field medic, I was trained to give life-saving first aid in an emergency situation and then get the patient to a higher level of medical care.
Mhm.
And sometimes getting that patient to a higher level of medical care meant that I had to carry a grown man who was sometimes 100 pounds heavier than me and almost a foot taller on my back using a fireman carry. So I
Wow.
needed to be as strong as my male counterparts to be able to do my job.
Mhm.
But one day I had a devastating injury. I was rappelling down a mountain in Korea,
Mhm.
and the same conditions that helped the person that I was going to assist also injured me. I suffered a traumatic brain injury,
Wow.
a spinal cord injury. I broke my back,
Mhm.
and I later developed PTSD, not from this incident, but from other incidents in the military.
Mhm. Well, I'm sorry to hear that. I mean, PTSD is a real big deal. Brain injury is a real big deal. I've had some friends that have gotten brain injuries, and for some of them, it makes them really hard just to go out in public and do anything. They can get overwhelmed by some of the things that are there, so it's not fun. So you end up with a walker, I guess, and then eventually graduate through the tier we talked about in your bio.
Yeah, well, I went from injured to being able to do my job for a short time, but
Mm-hmm.
by the time I was 32, I was losing my memory, my
Wow.
ability to learn new things, having difficulty walking and talking. At my worst, I couldn't care for myself. I
Mm.
had to use a walker, a service dog, and a full-time caregiver.
Wow.
And at my sickest, I thought I was going to die. In fact, I was looking down on myself one day. My service dog was at my side. She wouldn't leave my side that entire day. And she looked as if she was saying goodbye to me. And
Wow.
within my body, I felt like my soul was leaving my body.
Mm-hmm.
100% believed I would not make it to the next day. So I thank God for the life I had lived because comparatively, I had gone from a little kid in Queens to becoming a tech CEO after leaving the military.
No.
And I made it. I was living the American dream, but I was getting sicker and sicker every day until I thought I wasn't going to survive. But I
Wow.
said, God, thank you for the life I've lived.
Hmm.
But if I make it one more day, I'm going to figure out why I'm so sick and tired. And I'm going to turn around and help others because there are so many people for which modern Western medicine is just not working for us. And we're
Yeah.
just different animals, just wired differently. So
Mhm.
we have to approach healthcare a little bit differently. And that's what I did. I woke up that next morning and set out creating my new normal because I was never getting my old life back. My brain
Mhm.
was never going to be the same. My spinal cord was never going to be the same. So, what will I do now? How
Mhm.
will I live? How will I show up in the world? And I wanted it to be a big life.
Ah. Well, I love that message. Starting off with gratitude, I've noticed that when I go through some of my darkest cathartic moments, gratitude is something that helps kind of reset me, give me a foundation as well, and kind of what's the word? Refit the situation, um,
Re-
reevaluate,
Reimagine your
re,
outcome.
reimagine the outcome. Yeah. And by doing that, you kind of create a space for yourself to go, what do I have now? I've been through cathartic moments where I've lost, different functions of my body in old age, my back and hernias and different things, and had to realize that I'm going to have to live with that for the rest of my life, and it's a quality of life situation over just being able to do whatever the hell I want, run around crazy like. And then the same thing with business, same thing with losing companies or losing friends or loved ones. And having a point of gratitude really helps you reframe it to where you can reapproach it, and then of course mark it as okay, so let's get on with pursuing the quality of the life that I can have, the best that I can do, and really enjoying life. And it's kind of sad that sometimes things have to be taken from us before we really appreciate or value them. But
That is the
I mean, that's
thing.
the way it is.
Yeah, and what I have found, because I'm also the director of an adventure camp for youth ages 6 to 16, and
Hmm.
11 out of 16 youths in 2021 came to camp and they self-reported to a counselor that they had been thinking about suicide ages 6 to 16 before coming to camp. And they said, since they've been at camp, they're not thinking about that anymore. They feel more hopeful.
Huh. Is it being around other people? Is it achieving things? It is, setting goals and going out and doing things, getting out there and.
Well, I'd like to say it's me really, because I created the camp and I set it up to take these youths through the new normal big life process, an easy process for changing your life, whatever you think is causing you to be stuck in your relationships, in work and school, in your health and fitness, especially health and fitness. We help you to see that your old life is not coming back. Let's move you forward and live the biggest life you can dream. And it's not anything magical about it. It's just that we're not used to hearing that you can. In our culture, we hear, no, 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 you can't, you won't, you'll never, so often that it becomes this unconscious memory where when you're trying to excel at something, you have this negative talk in your head that says, it won't happen. You're not special. You're not good enough.
You should just give up now. It's easier.
Yes.
Yeah, it's unfortunate we have that self-talk too. That sometimes gets us discouraged. And so, how often do you hold these types of events, or how do they work at the Adventure Sports Club?
Well, we have a year-round club. We started in northern Colorado, where I used to live. I live in the Midwest now. And the camp is yearly. We started off with just children, and then their parents were saying, I've never been to camp. I don't know how to shoot a bow and arrow or kayak or paddleboard or any of the things you're teaching my child. I'd like to go to camp. So then we had camp for families. And then we brought grandparents along with the families. And then the grandparents said, you know what? I want to live my best life in retirement. Can you hold camps just for us? And so this past summer, we started camps just for seniors.
Camps just for seniors. Get them out. Get them doing stuff. It's so hard for seniors sometimes to make new friends, sometimes they get very isolated. There's lots of different ways we've had people on the show that have designed apps and events and different things to try and keep them from getting isolated. And depression kills, loneliness kills. And when you're older, having people in your life, it can keep you busy. It can keep your mind active because, one of the things that comes is dementia and Alzheimer's. And, keeping sharp, playing games with people evidently will, fight off dementia and Alzheimer's, using your brain, keeping it engaged. I'm still working to keep my brain engaged because, you've seen me lately. Anyway, he has no brain. We know. That's why he runs the show. Anyway, so you do these events, and how can people find out about them? How can people on board with them or get more information on future events you're holding?
American Adventure Sports Club. You can find out about events, and also you can donate. We are funded fully by donations and some government grants, which is great, and it's open to anyone with a financial need.
And why a financial need? It's a nonprofit, but how does that work?
Here's the thing. In America, and a lot of people don't realize this, the majority of people who recreate in America come from a household that earns over $100,000 a year. And it's very expensive. Let's say you wanted to jump into whitewater kayaking tomorrow. You're going to spend about $3,000 for all of the gear to be able to kayak in icy cold water. If you want to start ice fishing tomorrow, which is something I love doing and I'm looking forward to, and probably very soon, that's going to cost you, just getting started, about $800. But outdoor recreation is so beneficial for neuroplasticity, for community, for moving your body. So all of the things that promote longevity, you're probably not going to believe this because my sponsors didn't believe it. And what I mean by sponsors, if you've ever watched downhill skiing, and they're about to interview a snowboarder, for example, and they'll say, I'd love to tell you about that race, but first let me thank my sponsors. I'm that girl. But I became a sponsored adventure sports athlete, hold on to your hats, at 53, and they thought I was 35. I'm 58 now. I know I'm not your grandma's 58, but I'll be 58 next week. And I'm still whitewater kayaking. I'm still climbing and hiking, even after a brain injury. So if I can ditch my walker and create this amazing new life, and remember what I said, I told you it was going to be a big life, right? When I was still using a walker, I envisioned the kind of people I would have around me, where I would live, the kind of work that I would do, the kind of things I would do for my good health. 4 years after that vision, I was living that life. Not only living that life, but by the 5th year, I was a sponsored athlete in that life. I completely changed careers from technology and became a journalist, and now I'm a columnist at an international magazine.
Wow.
So there's not magical thinking. There's no magical thinking involved. It's a step-by-step plan that you can start tomorrow.
And you help people achieve that, get their goals done, and then you're going to roll a lot of this out on the podcast as you grow this podcast and expand it. Tell us more about what you plan to do there.
On New Normal Big Life podcast, I interview experts from all kinds of different disciplines, from epidemiologists to neurologists and more. And we talk about your biggest health challenges. But I also take you through a step-by-step plan to incorporate what you've just learned from those experts. Because it's easy to sit back and you hear all this great information and then you wonder, well, how do I do this on my budget? Whether you come from a low-income household or you have all the disposable income that you need, you're going to need to know how to get started. And a lot of people are not self-starters. So we take the guesswork out of you. So every episode, you can click on the show description and get a plan for what to do next. And also on the blog and our newsletter, if you sign up for the newsletter, you can download your step-by-step plans. So for example, if you listen to the episode about taking the toxic food ingredients out of your diet, and you hear about all of these ingredients and how they show up on your packaging, one ingredient might show up 3 different ways. So you need to know all the different ways they're on your package. You can listen to it on the podcast, then get the newsletter and download your list of things to avoid when you go to the grocery store.
I love it.
In 2026, in January, I'm going to start taking you through creating your new normal and living your big life. And this is all at no cost. I don't charge you for anything because this is my mission. This is my purpose, my passion. One of the reasons that I get out of bed, being an outdoors woman, is the other reason I get out of bed. And of course, my family and friends are big reasons too. But on those days, I still have debilitation. There are some days that I get up and my brain does not work. It won't cooperate. And I will have difficulty making sentences, difficulty walking, difficulty with stability. But on those days, I know that eventually I'm going to get back to my new normal and I'm going to continue with my life. And while I'm struggling, I'm remembering the good times I had with my friends. I'm remembering all the fun that I'm going to have in the future in this outdoor lifestyle. So this outdoor lifestyle that I promote, it's more like what the hunter-gatherer ancestors that we read about in history have done. Getting back to living like that, that's your key to longevity.
Well, I love what you're doing there. You know, diet's a big part of it. That's probably one of the things you've helped use to heal your health, right? Eating right, eating healthy foods, staying away from the McDonald's. It's good every day. Once a year or something. I don't know. But, you know, one of the things I learned, someone imparted me decades ago, is when you go to the store, you don't go down the bad aisles. That's the key. And if you notice that the layout of a store, any given grocery store has the freshest food on the outside because they have to change it often because it doesn't stay fresh, but it's the live foods, you know, it's your vegetables and all that sort of good stuff, right? And then the closer you move in the store with the aisles, the deader the food becomes. So, you've always got the chip and pop aisle in the middle, and you got the freezer aisle. That's like really dead food. And then, and it kind of goes in from there. And so I learned a long time ago to right away go buy my groceries in the vegetable section, and then stay off the aisles. I don't go down the candy aisle, I don't go down the chip aisle, I don't go down the pop aisle, because if I go down those aisles, you know what happens, right?
You buy everything in the store.
Like, yeah, you start making those bargains with yourself, those Faustian bargains with yourself. Well, if I buy this 12-pack of Coke, I'll only drink one a day. I promise myself when that fucker gets home, I'm only gonna drink one a day out of that box. No, and you drink 5 that day. You're like, it's in your house, it's in your mouth. That's what I learned.
Oh, I love that. I'm gonna use that.
Please do. If it's in your house, it's in your mouth. I stole it from I think Cray Ray from Presto Pendulette's book. And that's one of the lessons. If you bring it home and you play that Faustian bargain, I won't eat the whole bag of Oreos in one sitting. You play those games with your mind at the store. You're gonna do it when you get home. I mean, it's just it. Yeah. You get hungry. Maybe you're not even hungry. A lot of people mistake hungriness for just being dehydrated. Like they should just drink some water and some salt.
Right.
And they're like, no, I'll just eat a bag of Oreos. That'll hydrate me. And then they wonder why they're crashing and, all sorts of stuff. But health and food and what you put in your body is so important, You gotta stay away from that crack. Health is wealth. It really is. And healing damage, I may not be able to heal my back or, other things I've damaged in my world, but, I can help improve the quality of its survival and health by eating good stuff. I used to drink a lot of vodka, and that's not good for anyone's joints.
It's good for a good time sometimes, though.
For about 2 hours, and then there's about 3 days of hangovers and dehydration and bloating. And man, I used to get bad water gain from the days, and I eventually just go, hey man, this is for the young. This is a game for the young people. And I feel so much better not drinking anymore. I mean, I played my body out for 20 years. I did it hard for 20 years, and then I was like, okay, you did that. That's we can put that one in the bag and just say we got that one.
Well, Chris, I think that you and the listeners out there might be able to level up your good health more than you think you can. And here's why. So researchers Sonja Lyubomirsky came up with this hypothesis for happiness, that your happiness level, but I'm going to extrapolate it out to your overall life and health and wellness, right? So 50% of what makes you who you are comes from your genetics. And of course, you can turn genes on and off. 10% of what makes you who you are, that's environment. And some of the environment you cannot change. Like you can't change the rapid pace of cultural change that we've seen over the past 10 years. You can't change the rapid pace of technology that we've seen over the past 10 years. But what you can change are some lifestyle changes. And those lifestyle changes are 40% of what makes you who you are. So it's 40% of your good health. It's 40% of your back pain. It's 40% of your cognitive abilities. It's 40% of how successful you're going to become in whatever career you choose. So by making those life changes, using that 40% that is within your control, you can level up your game. And I'll give you an example that applies to you, Chris. So like me, you've got back pain, probably stops you from living the life that you want to live sometimes. But there are natural ways to reduce inflammation, to reduce your chronic pain. There are ways to move your body to reduce your chronic pain. So those are the things that you don't hear at your doctor's office that we cover along with my experts on New Normal Big Life podcast.
Nice. Well, that's going to be awesome. So where can people find this again and your .coms and give people the final pitch out?
You can find New Normal Big Life on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, iHeartRadio, and 10 other platforms. You can find me on LinkedIn at Antoinette Lee MBA. You can find me on Twitter or X at NNBL Podcast, Instagram at NNBL Blog, and also on TikTok at New Normal Big Life Podcast.
Well, this sounds like an exciting podcast to have, and eating well, having gratitude, being in your good health. I mean, it's so important because you've got to take care of yourself. I mean, I wish I would have taken care of myself after dealing with hospitals for my injury on hernias. It's crazy out there, man, in the medical field, and when you see the costs of it and some of the craziness you have to deal with, be healthy, folks. Trust me, it's not fun. I'm just experiencing it for the first time in 58 years. I'm just like, what the hell's going on with this?
Wow.
Yeah. Well, thank you very much, Antoinette, for coming on the show. It's been fun to have you and very inspiring, and hopefully people will reach out to you and get involved with what you're doing to lift them up.
Thank you, Chris. See you on the other side.
See you on the other side. Thanks so much for tuning in. Go to goodreads.com/Chris Voss, LinkedIn.com/Chris Voss, Chris Voss1 on the TikTokity, and all those crazy places on the internet. Be good to each other. Stay safe. We'll see you guys next time. And that should have a